So you're playing ARMA for the first, second, third, maybe even fourth time, and you're still lost and have no idea what to do. You keep getting into conflict game mode, but all you're doing is following around other people hoping to get into a fight. Well, I'm here to help you out with that. I'm going to show you what every symbol on your map means and how the conflict game mode actually works. At the end of this video, if you did find it helpful, please just leave a like, maybe comment down below something you want to see in the future. Without further ado, here we go. Start it from right here, right from the beginning. So all this is right here, this screen, when this pops up for you, tells you how the game mode works, okay? And it's essentially like Battlefield, okay? You capture an objective, you want to hold that objective and keep it. But there's a little more to it than that. So we're going to hit continue. Okay, yes, sure, we know how to play. Thank you. Now you're going to pick a team. You're either going to pick Americans or you're going to pick the Russians. And for right now, we're just going to go here. Then you're going to pick a squad. Now, right now I'm playing by myself, but usually there'd be a list of squads. And you can create your own squad, whatever you want to do. But right now, we just have the one squad with me in it. You're just starting. This is what you see. This is where you're going to choose to deploy. We only have one spot to deploy. You see this right here? This blue symbol right here with the little arrow? That means you can spawn there. Now there's 600 down there. It says 600 out of 600 supplies. We'll get to why that's important a little bit later. But for right now, this is the one spot we can deploy to. So we're going to deploy here. Now if you get into a game that just started, everybody will spawn here because it is the only spot to spawn. There should be one of these Humvees, maybe two sometimes if you're lucky, and a supply truck. And that's all that's here. Get rid of these hints. Okay, so now that you're in the game at main spawn right here, this is where we are. I am going to go over every single thing on this map, all these symbols, and tell you what they mean and how the game mode works. It's really easy once you understand how the game mode works. The map becomes pretty readable after that. So that's why I kind of want to point out what these symbols mean and what they do. So that's what we're going to start with first. First things first. You spawned at main operating base. That's where we chose to spawn because it's the only place that we own. How do you know it's the only place that we own? Well, any place that has a blue square mark right here with this little symbol means you can spawn there. And any square that is blue, you own if you are fighting for the Americans. So if you're on the American side, any blue square is yours. Now if you'll notice, there's a red line that travels from this one to this one. Green squares are squares that you can take over, a base that you can take. So this right here, Florida, we can take over right now. If we wanted to, we could travel from here to here and capture this base right here. Now if we wanted to go to Connecticut, do we want to go capture Connecticut? Oh, we can't capture Connecticut. And do you know why? Because this symbol is this little yellow blob symbol, which means it's locked. So even if we went here, went to this area, killed off all the AI, we would not be able to capture this at all because it's not available yet. That is how you kind of capture bases, right? You go from our point to the green squares. Once we capture this one and we put up a radio tower, we will be able to capture this area. This right here, this yellow, you'll notice, will turn to a green square, along with possibly even Kansas too, okay? So what our whole goal is to build radio towers at whatever base we're at, in which you want to do that at main operating base, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. But you build it up so that way it can stretch out to unlock all these locked bases. All these are locked. Cannot capture, cannot capture, cannot capture. However, we can capture Florida as of right now. But I'm going to show you guys a little trick. Instead of going all the way up here and capturing one objective, if you build a radio tower, which is what you need to do at every place you capture, you need to set up a radio tower. The reason being is it'll make more of these red lines will stretch out and unlock these other bases. You pretty much need to carry your communication out so you can capture bases. So we'll come here, boop, boop, boop. We take this over, we take over this little green square here. Once we do that, we wait for enough supplies, which is why that's important. This has 600. Who knows how many this will have? Usually when you take over a base, it's 100, just as a heads up. And it takes like 200 something to build a relay tower. So even if we captured this, it might only link up to one spot. However, if we build a radio tower here, it will start stretching. It'll have lots of lines coming out of it because we have a radio tower that can expand out and go to other bases. Now I know that's going to seem really complicated, but I will show you exactly what I mean. It won't show the main base, it just shows all the other points, but it won't show us where their main base is right off rip. Okay, now you want to know where to go and what to do. Well, when you first start off, you already have a loadout set for you, okay? So you're all good with that. If you see people going and doing their loadouts, don't worry about any of that. Maybe you don't even know how. That's fine. Let's say this is Battlefield or something similar. Usually you capture this point, then you capture this point, then you capture this point, then you capture this point, and you just keep moving forward, correct? Well, the same thing applies in here, except that you need to have a radio relay built to reach the next point. And I'll show you what I'm talking about when we capture Maryland. I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. The first thing you want to do at any of these points, let's say we captured this one. The first thing you want to do is go in here to the main tent, which if you ever want to know what the main tent, the main base tent is, it always has the flag on it. It's the command post. So you walk inside here. When you click on this, it's going to put you in a build mode. And picture this as like a base builder, okay? But all this stuff means something. This right here extends our relay, and I'm going to show you why that's important here in just a sec. So we'll just choose to build it right here. So for now, we can only reach as far as Maryland. We'll come over here and we'll build up our relay. This is our radio tower. These help us reach the next bases and make sure that we can talk to people on comms as far as they stretch out, because you can talk to people over radio, but if you're in a place where there's no radio contact, well, then you can't talk to anybody and you're stuck behind enemy lines without being able to talk to anybody. Okay. There's a new transmitter tower at Point, Alabama. So he's just, that voice is just telling everybody that one's been built here. Okay. You saw how we only had one red line leading to Maryland, correct? So that was the only base we could go take at that moment. The reason being, we couldn't capture. Do you see these, how these are yellow up here? We cannot capture anything that's yellow. It's locked. That's like locked. The reason that is because this radio tower, now that we built it, can now stretch to this base, can now stretch to this one to be captured, can stretch to this tower to be captured, and can stretch to this base to be captured. So the reason you want those towers put up is because you want to be able to extend to reach to all these bases to be able to capture them. When we capture Maryland, or let's say we capture, we capture Alaska and we build a radio tower off of Alaska, it should reach a line far enough to reach Ohio to be captured. So it'll start unlocking this stuff. This tower is a main point. The reason you want, so if you see this, it kind of looks like a little key symbol. This is a signal tower, and it's pretty much a giant radio tower, and that's all it is. You can't build a base on it, but what it does is it stretches to almost all these other bases so you can capture them. So like I said, instead of going from base to base, this one to this one to this one to this one, what you want to do is build a radio tower so you can have the availability to capture all these. That's how you keep extending. If we go to this one and build a radio, it'll stretch out. If we go to this one and build a radio, it will stretch out. So and radio towers also let you spawn. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about next. We are going to go capture Maryland right now. And then I'll get back with you guys and show you what I'm talking about. We're going to go try and capture it right now. However, one thing I do want to say before we go to capture this, every single one of the green spots on the map here, every single one of these square green marks, even this one, are all AI covered. They all have AI on them that will shoot you. Picture them as like the civilian AI. Okay, they're gonna shoot you. They're not the enemy, they're not the Russians. However, they guard this place. You have to kill all them, take it over, then it's yours. Okay, so we should have this base captured soon, which is this one right here, and I'm gonna just show you what happens. See that? Now it's ours. Now, if we didn't have the relay tower built here that we built earlier, we would have built one here and it probably would have stretched to Alaska. So that way Alaska could have became available. Otherwise, it probably would have been marked as a yellow. Your radio towers can reach quite a ways. So depending on where you build them, so let's say we get up to Alaska, right, and build one, we'll probably be able to stretch, it'll probably stretch to Ohio. So will the signal tower. It'll reach there, it'll reach there. Signal towers, on the other hand, are completely different than one of these green squared bases. These are just radio towers, giant ones, that you try to take over to capture all the bases around. And so you kind of get that, okay, we go from base to base, setting up a radio tower. That's how we stretch out to capture more bases, because if not, they're locked with this yellow. Now you're probably asking, well, how do I win the game? Okay, well, if you look up here, see how we have 0, then there's a 2 in the middle, and another 0. All this means is we need 2 main objectives, or 2 main bases we have to capture, I should say, to win the game. What are the main bases? Well, it's anything that's marked with this purplish lettering here. So Ohio is a main, and Kentucky is a main. If we take over both of these, let's say we went up and captured Ohio, we moved down and captured Kentucky, well then what will happen is a countdown will start. It'll pop up right on your screen, actually right at the top part of your screen, and it'll start at like a 7-minute or 6-minute countdown. And if you can own both those bases for 6 minutes, you win the game. So that's the goal. Now some maps are bigger and it'll have like a number 5 here, and there'll be 5 main that you can capture, and there'll be more than 5 points out on the map to capture. So it could go any way. Like this is a small map, so it just has the 2, and you need the 2 to win. The only other thing I want to teach you about your map on here and what it means is this symbol right here I have not explained. The circle, green dot. These are free supply areas. They constantly keep supplies respawned in here, like constantly. They never go away. And let's say this base was too low. Let's say you wanted to build something where you can spawn cars in, but you don't have enough supplies. Well, what you do is you take a vehicle or a big truck, you drive up to here, collect your supplies, drive it back down here, and deliver it. Now there's a little bit to that and you'd have to learn it, but that's what these are. They are free supply depots, and it looks like there are 3 of them on this map. 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. So you can go to all of these and take supplies to whatever base you need to take them to. And that's pretty much it for map and how the game mode works. So I'm going to be making more videos to help you guys out, especially for you new players. I spend a lot of time in game just teaching players how to play. So I figured I might as well make a video, even if a few people see it. Hey, that's a few people that I helped out that maybe didn't understand the map at all. So that's all I got for you guys, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.